You could write a whole book on mermaids, and I'm not gonna try in this video. There are mermaid legends all over the world. Some are goddesses, some are monsters, some are nice, some are not nice. Your basic mermaid is a woman or man with a fishtail instead of legs. There are others. Sometimes merfolk are just underwater fairies. They look human, but they can breathe and live underwater. My mermaids don't deviate from this. Some of them are nice, most of them are nice in fact, but some of them are the kill all humans, get off my land kind. I mean, I guess it's not land, but you know what I mean. Some of my mermaids have tails, but some of them do have legs or a combination. A Merrow, an Irish type of mermaid, have green skin and seem to have both legs and a tail from this one story I read. But I've also seen them depicted with only a tail, so I'm not sure. If anyone knows for sure, do tell me. My Merrow are green and they have both legs and a tail. And I don't normally do anime hair, but I do in the case of Merrow and Undines. Undines also have green hair. They look just like humans, but they live underwater and they have green hair. And that's based on one fairy tale that I read. Yeah, you can blame folklore for this one. I also have Merrow that are blue or yellow and have corresponding blue or yellow hair. That's based on Budgie genetics. That's not folklore. That's just a thing that I thought would be cool. The male Merrow in folklore have pig eyes and a red nose, and I misread that when I read that tale, so mine have pig noses instead, but I'm keeping it because I think it looks a little bit cute and I like it. Sorry, folklore. Sorry, I did that one wrong, but yeah, shut up. I'm not going to be doing Nixie, Sirens, or Selkies in this video because they have their own day. Some things do intersect with regular mermaids, insofar as there is such a thing. For example, mermaids have a cloak or cap. It's usually red, very much like a fairy cloak. This lets them breathe underwater, and it happens often that you take a mermaid's cloak and they have to do whatever you say. There's a couple of stories like that, very much like the fairy stories. Another thing that intersects a lot is mermaids marrying and luring humans. Sometimes it's not by choice on either side. Apart from the story of the human stealing the mermaid's cloak and forcing her into marriage, mermaids also force humans to marry them and like take them away to the mermaid's kingdom underwater, and sometimes we don't know what goes on under there, but from the reaction of the humans on the land, it can't be anything good. There's also stories of them collecting human souls, usually of drowned sailors, so let's don't do that, mermaids. Mine don't do that. I mean, they do marry humans, they do that, and other people, but they don't do the collecting soul thing. And there's also a lot of luring men to their deaths, as with a lot of sort of femme fatale folklore figures. Lots of looking pretty and it's a trap. Lots of that going on. It's actually supposed to be bad luck to marry a mermaid. Any treasure that you get from them is also supposed to be unlucky. They're a bad omen at sea, but sometimes they are friendly to fishermen. Depends. My mermaids are pretty high up on the magical scale. In folklore, they can control the weather and cause storms, and they can also transform themselves into animals. In one story, a mermaid transforms herself into a wren to escape some hunters, which, by the way, they were hunting her because she was causing storms, so that's a twofer. In the Caribbean, they are able to transform into cats. Going back to the souls thing, mermaids don't have one in some lore. This comes from the legend of Undines, who are water spirits, and it is one of the motivating factors in The Little Mermaid, because if they marry a human, then they get an immortal soul. Mermen tend to be ugly and wild and not interested in humans because fantasy character design hasn't changed a lot in hundreds of years. The women are hot and the men are not. There are some super pretty mermen out there, but they don't tend to be like mermen. They tend to be a specific subtype of merfolk. I do have a lot of different types of mermaids, which are based on the different types in folklore. They say the typical mermaid may or may not have cloaks, and the Merrows always have a red cloak. My mermaids live near land usually. They can live in deeper water, but they prefer places with shallows. Like, they will come on land, like, they do a little bit of, like, fruit gathering and stuff like that, and gathering plants outside of the sea. All mermaids have at least one dialect of sign language, which they use to communicate underwater or with foreign mermaids who don't speak their spoken language. There are variations in their sign language, but they all have a common dialect language. Of the various other worlds, Calypso is the most heavily populated by merfolk because it's almost entirely ocean and has a nice, stable, magical field. Mermaids do need magic to survive, but they're not quite so high up as fairies. Gaia and Anima are more sparsely populated than Calypso, but if there's a seacoast or a significant body of water and the environment is magical enough, there will be mermaids. Something that is touched on in folklore is mermaid and human children. My mermaids also, because they live near land, they do mingle with humans and other land people. Any children will be either a mermaid with a non-standard pattern of scales, or a human with some aquatic abilities like being able to breathe underwater. That is something that I have read about in folklore. The children of Selkies have webbed fingers, again as per folklore, and other mermaid children may be covered all over with random scales. Again, that's a thing I read in folklore, so plus it looks cool. It just looks cool. My mermaids, like the folklore mermaids, do specialize in weather magic and the self-transformation magic. Yeah, although most witches learn magic in fairyland, learning from mermaids is another option. It's just the same, just learning different specialities of magic, basically. Like in folklore, some mermaids will eat humans, same as my fairies. But there are also humans who will eat mermaids, so I'm gonna call it even. This is because of a legend that mermaid flesh grants eternal life. If you ever wondered why Bubbles hated humans so much, this is why. My mermaids have, like, their own countries and clans and so on. Like, there's no single mermaid culture or country. It's not like Fairyland, where Fairyland is the one fairy country and you don't get other fairy countries. There's a lot of different ones, so there's no particular mermaids culture or anything that I can tell you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for listening.